You guys remember me? So hello and welcome again, and welcome to the CMAX Silent Theater. And this is the home of Cisco Live's Innovation Showcases. Now, Innovation Showcases offer a look at the latest innovations from Cisco. Now, it provides not only the context, but also the inspiration for today's IT professionals that need to create the world of tomorrow. Now, today we'll be exploring the world of data center. And to tell us about delivering intent for data center networking, please welcome on stage Ish Limkakeng.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. Good afternoon. So thank you very much for coming up here to spend some time with us here at the Innovation Theater for Data Center. How many of you saw the keynote this morning and saw Rowan and David? Good, a lot of you, great. So I don't know about you, but the future looks really exciting from what Rowan showed. We've got hover cars, we've got virtual telepathy. What more could you want, right? What's really exciting to me, though, is that all of those things have at its core, the nerve center, a data center. Whether that's a data center that you own or a data center that you have in the cloud, all of those applications and all of that future resides, as Rowan said, on a technology infrastructure. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I think you've probably noticed there's a superhero theme here at Cisco Live this year. And that's because we recognize that the challenges that you face and your teams face are really worthy of superhero status. There's constantly a need to be bigger, faster, more scale, more applications, more endpoints, with greater speed, more agility. The businesses that you support are, unless you're a very strange audience, nobody's asking for slower delivery of a service or less agile meeting of their business requirements. And then finally, from a security standpoint, you've seen us across all of Cisco. Security is integral, and as Rowan said, needs to be designed in from the very beginning. So those are the challenges that we see. We see this across all of our customer base, and we believe that this is something that will resonate with all of you. Now, the great thing is you don't have to be a superhero to deliver this. All you have to do is have some of the foresight and, frankly, some of the courage to deliver these great capabilities and use the technology that's available to you. So that's what I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about today. So when we talk about the data center, of course, compute, network, storage, this is all part of any given data center. And this is not just whether it's your physical data center or one that you have a coloc or one that is in the public cloud. All of these components are critical to delivering on the application or delivering on the business service that your customers demand. But of course, we're Cisco, and we think that the network has a primary place in this. The network is the only thing that sees everything, touches everything, and is the single source of truth for what's actually going on. So with that as its start, we think that the network is obviously very important. Now, that network is not just in one place and one point in time. It's across your multiple data centers. It's across the multiple cloud delivery vehicles you have, and it's across your campus and your wide area network. And that's why you saw some of the products that David Geckler spoke about this morning. Cisco's the only company that can do this end to end, and we're very excited about what we've been announcing here at Cisco Live. So, if you think about this and you think about the future that Rowan was painting, and you're thinking about, if you've seen Chuck Robbins speak a little bit about the explosion of endpoints, 50 million, a billion devices attaching the network, every one of them hits a data center or an application that one of our customers or one of your teams owns. And so you're probably thinking, how do I do this? How do I manage all of this with consistency and agility? And it's a very good question. So it's a huge challenge. We think that the first critical piece to that is that you need to be able to build an infrastructure that can adapt quickly and, very importantly, is doing exactly what you intended it to do. Now, that sounds like a very simple statement, but I know that there are many people here in this audience that have a direct experience with, this is what we configured the network to do, this is what we configured our compute infrastructure to do, some reason, SLA was broken, didn't happen. And then what happens? We all get into a room, we compare logs, we start pointing at each other, and try to figure out the problem and hope that we figure out a way that it doesn't happen in the future. We think there's a better way, and that's what you've heard us talk about with intent-based networking. So intent-based networking is very simply the ability to guarantee that the infrastructure takes what you intend and drives it throughout the infrastructure and continuously checks that. And let me talk to the various components of that. The first piece is the notion of translating intent. So in the old days, we would build data centers, we would build networks, and they'd be wonderful, beautiful networks that scaled, failover, perfectly fine approach. But in a world where intent is important, and in the data center, that intent is the application. You build a data center because you have an application that you care about and data that application uses. It's the only reason you build a data center. Gentleman here, Tom Edsel in the row over here, coined that phrase, and I steal it all the time. It's the only reason you build a data center. So the intent that you're trying to get that infrastructure is that business application. And that, by extension, is the logic of the business and the needs for your customers. So we need to be able to capture that intent. A should be able to talk to B under these conditions, using these resources under these SLAs, translate it into a set of policies that the infrastructure can understand. So it's not that the networking constructs that we've always used, VLANs and VRFs and addressing, it's not that they're not important, it's just that we need to translate the business intent into something that the infrastructure can understand. And then, just as importantly, check the integrity. Can the infrastructure understand that and address it? So that's the first piece of intent-based networking. Now, not much point in doing that if you don't actually do something with it, right? So, of course, the second step is we need to be able to activate it and use the full capabilities of modern automation tools to take that translated policy and drive it everywhere in the infrastructure. It has to match up with all of your existing orchestration and management tools because, as I like to say, there are many greenfield opportunities with a lot of our customers, but there are no greenfield environments. Every one of you has an existing security setup, an existing management setup, and whether or not you're about to change it or not, you may do an acquisition where you have to fit with what's already there. So we need to be able to activate it across the entire infrastructure and everything that might touch that application. And then finally, we need to add assurance. Assurance is the guarantee and the continuous verification that what I captured in intent and initially pushed down into the infrastructure is actually happening on the devices and in the network and in the entire infrastructure. We need to do this in a continuous manner. We need to derive insight, have the visibility to see what's actually going on, and just as importantly, if something is wrong, see it ahead of time, moving from reactive to proactive, and suggest corrective actions. Now you might ask me, if this is a closed loop system, why do you need verification and why do you need to, you configured that. Of course that's what it does. How many of you have had the experience where part of your team has configured a set of security policies and it worked very well, very fine, a little bit of time passes. Another team has another set of policies that they need to change, ACL change, maybe a routing table change. A third team, 6 months later, does it again. Suddenly, nobody knows what's the intent of this configuration. Is that a common experience? Has anybody here seen that? Yeah, I see hands everywhere. This is what happens in real live networks. It's not, what is on PowerPoint. In real environments, things change. And you don't want to stop that change because they're done for good reasons. But what you need to be able to do is verify that the overall intent is still being faithfully applied in the infrastructure. Okay, does that make sense? This is what we talk about in intent-based networking, and this is why you see Cisco. It's been a big change for us and a big push in our product development, as well as all of our go-to-market activities over the last year. So you may have, for those of you who are familiar with our data center portfolio, you may say, hey, that sounds very familiar, and it is, and it should be, because ACI and our Nexus 9000 platform has been we've been on this journey now for 3 or 4 years with ACI, and it's the way that we capture the intent and drive the automation. But we're really excited today to talk about a little bit more, and I'm going to get to the assurance piece in this next section. But before that, I want to take a moment and just speak a little bit about ACI. With ACI, we have, from the very beginning, looked to drive intent throughout the network and make sure that you can build the best networks anywhere you need to build them. You can place your workload, and with an ACI Anywhere, which I'll explain in a moment, you can place your workload anywhere it makes sense. The goal is to make that a business decision and not a technology decision. So with ACI, we can optimize your network. We bring automation, where it's any policy that you want to centrally configure. You can drive that anywhere in the infrastructure. For those of you who are familiar with UCS, we've taken the concept of the service profile and brought that across the entire network and infrastructure so that you can define it once, put it and place it everywhere. And if you notice the problem that I suggested with people changing configuration over time, just as importantly, if you want to decommission a set of configuration, you can pull that from that central controller, and it'll pull that configuration from the entire infrastructure. So we have ACI to optimize your network. There is an inherent security aspect to what we've done with ACI. The most obvious example is that we've made it very easy because you explicitly configure whitelists. So you could do a whitelist policy, which has not traditionally been easy to do in networking. So with ACI, I configure explicitly that Ish can talk to Tom on Thursday with these kinds of conditions. And again, as I change it, it comes out as well. So security, as Rowan mentioned in the keynote this morning, it's designed to be secure by default from the very beginning, not bolted on. And then the last piece, which is really important, is expanding it to multi-cloud and ACI Anywhere. So we're in the process of driving this. Today we have ACI multi-site is available in shipping. From the very beginning, we have been thinking of this as, again, any workload. So whether it's bare metal or containers or virtual machines, we have been continuing to add these capabilities to ACI as we go. So as you can see here from the slide, Kubernetes, OpenShift, Rev, we have all new enhancements that we brought very recently to ACI. And as you see from our announcements, if you've seen some of our announcements in the last 6 months or so, we are introducing partnerships with AWS and Google Cloud, as well as the virtual pod concept, so that you can deploy ACI policy across any infrastructure in any location. So very excited about the progress we have in ACI. From the very beginning, as I said, there are no greenfield environments. We've had a huge ecosystem of partners the whole way, and we're proud to continue to add to that. So that's where we are with ACI. What I'd like to do now is, instead of you hearing from me, I'd like to introduce one of our customers up to the stage from BBVA, Iñaki Bernal. Thank you very much. Come on up.
Okay, well, my name is Iñaki Bernal, and I'm the Global Head of Architecture and Technology Innovation for BBVA. BBVA, for those who don't know, it's a big Spanish retail bank. We have around 60 million customers around the globe, mostly in Spain and America, both the States, Mexico, and South America. And we have presence in around 30 countries. We are embracing in a very big transformation program, as well as most of our competitors.
Excellent, thank you. So we're very lucky to have Iñaki here, local here to Spain here at Cisco Live, so thank you very much. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you're facing and how you address them?
Okay. So BBVA and most of the banking industry is now under a very big pressure for transformation, coming from three main different sources. First is regulation. For those who don't know, in the last 5-6 years, the amount of regulations with very big requirements in technology that the banks we need to support is really huge. We need to manage petabytes of information. We need to process a massive amount of data to give it to regulators. We have also a big pressure coming from our customers. Our customers, they have become digital, and digital means they want everything in any time and with maximum quality in real time. And that obviously is also a very big stress. And I mean, the last but not least point is our digital competitors. So 10 years ago, our competitors were other companies like us, but now we have a lot of fintechs and big digital players that play with completely different rules. They are able to build and operate software at a scale and with a speed that is very far away from the traditional IT of banks. So that's the challenges we are facing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very common to what we see in many industries, you know, where there are a certain segment of competitors that are really driving the state of the art. Could you tell us a little bit about the solution that you chose from Cisco and how it helped you?
Yeah, sure. I think 2 years ago, we have launched a very big technology transformation program in parallel with a major transformation of our business model. And if I have to put one wall around this transformation program, it was about automation. So we have a clear vision that the future of the bank was very linked to our ability to build and deliver software at the speed of the light. And that implies a major change in the way we manage our infrastructure and our software. And in this space, we have designed a completely new technology platform. And we have very clear that it needs to be 100% automated, starting by the network and going to the highest levels of the technology stack. In fact, now it's not more a plan, it's a reality. In Spain, for example, more than 30% of our online transactions are already being run on containers orchestrated by Kubernetes and on top of ACI, so it's a huge effort. And in this case, I mean, ACI was definitively our best choice, not only for the quality of the solution, but also because we need a partner that allow us to go through this journey and I mean, help us in all the challenges and issues that we have faced during the journey.
Yes, excellent. So, you know, we've been working very closely with BBVA, obviously, to help them come to the ACI environment, and Iñaki and team have been great partners. One of the things we love to hopefully share with the customers here, as you're going through this, what was kind of, you know, one of the big wow moments, or a few of the wow moments that you had with your team?
I'm going to mention, I mean, we've got a lot of them, but I'm going to mention two that I think that are particularly relevant. One is more internal to the technology department. That was, I'll say 2 months ago, and some of the people that have been leading this wow moment are here. It was when we've got a major update of our ACI version, as well as a major update of the OpenStack platform. We were moving to the Newton version in an environment with a lot of productive workloads. I mean, other players in the industry, they've got really big troubles on this type of upgrades. And we have been able to do that in a weekend. Almost everything was automated and with any impact in the productive system. So that was really a moment that for us was really like, wow, we have to do it.
Excellent.
And the second one, this is more facing our business, that at the end of the day, as you have mentioned, is the main objective of that, has took place like 1 month ago. And I mean, as I've mentioned before, we've typically got a lot of pressure coming from regulators. Mm-hmm. And now they are asking us to bring information from all the banks and process it in a very short time frame. Mm-hmm. With the previous technology stack, we have been able to do that, or we were able to do this specific calculation in about 15 hours. So it takes a lot of time. And about 1 month ago, we have been able to rewrite the code in the new platform that use Spark, Mesos on top of ACI, etc. And we have been able to execute the process in less than 8 minutes.
Wow.
One of the main reasons is that we have been able to provide, in a very automated time, 2,000 virtual servers in order to parallelize the processment. And obviously that was really like a wow moment for our business that have see the power of bringing this type of technologies and put them on, to help them in their objectives.
So 15 hours to 8 minutes, 2,000 virtual machines, just for the job, for the one evening. Wow, that's incredible. So with all of this, the automation and the flexibility and the power that you've got now with your new infrastructure, what are the key things for the future? What are the challenges you have ahead of you and for us, and anything you'd like to see from Cisco or challenges that you face?
I think that there are a lot of challenges, but I will highlight two of them. First is security.
Yes.
For us, security is a huge issue. Bank and security are two words that always should go together because it's one of the key. And for us, having a platform that enables us to move to a different level in terms of security, like policy-based routing, things like that, is really key. And all the roadmap of innovation on security is really a no-brainer for us. Second is about data processing. And for us, data processing it's going to become really a must and a key element in our competitive strategy. So having a partner that allows us to move to an hybrid cloud environment, to really manage software-defined storage, things like that, is really critical in order to continue being competitive in the near future. I'll highlight these two challenges.
Those are worthy challenges. In fact, challenges worthy of a superhero. So I want to thank you very much, Iñaki. Thank you for spending time with us. And it's beautiful here in Barcelona and your country. So thank you very much for coming up with us.
What if you could sleep?
What if you could sleep peacefully at night, knowing that your network is operating the way it's supposed to?
What if you could take the guesswork out of networking?
Prevent problems from unknown configurers and fix them now.
What if you could be proactive instead of reactive?
What if you could prevent outages in your network before they happened?
Before they happen.
Correct a change before implementing and prevent an outage.
Immediately pinpoint issues in your network.
What if you could make changes and know that nothing could go wrong?
What if you had an extra senior network engineer on your team?
What if you had a crystal ball that would make sure that you knew that no change was ever going to break your network again?
So, what if? What if you knew everything that was going on in your network? And what if you knew that every change you made was doing exactly what you wanted it to do? That is what we're talking about, if you remember the third piece of network assurance. And so we're very proud today to announce the Cisco Network Assurance Engine. This is work we've been doing with some of the top engineers in our company and from the industry over the last couple of years to formally figure out exactly how to continuously verify everything that is going on in the infrastructure and validate that that is exactly the intent that you need. So essentially, it gives you always-on network assurance. So that's what we're bringing to market here today with the Network Assurance Engine. I want to go through a little bit. So what can you do with it? What's the point? With the Network Assurance Engine, you can predict the impact of every change. If those of you, how many again were at the keynote this morning with David? So quite a few. If you saw that graph with all the radials connected together, that is a model of every possible interaction between endpoints in your network. Imagine if you had, in the old world where it was just a physical network and the only connections that were possible were point-to-point physical wires, if you had a diagram of that, you would have all of the possible networking connections. But you wouldn't be able to see the individual transactions inside of those wires. We can do that. We can show you everything that is allowed because we've formally modeled everything that is allowed in that. And so we can predict any change, and we can show you the impact of that change. We can verify the network-wide behavior, again, for every endpoint, connecting to every endpoint in that network, not just the actual traffic you've seen. And the implications for being able to assure policy compliance and security are immense. So whether it is in the financial industry or many of our friends in healthcare or internal policy compliance, we can prove this to an auditor and show that before you have that audit, that we are compliant and you will not fail that audit and have a business impacting outage. So these are some of the key use cases that we see with our customers for the Network Assurance Engine. We're very proud of what we've been able to do. For the first time, we've been able to take over 5,000 scenarios that have been derived from over 25 years of Cisco networking experience. So all of the experience that we have from our advanced services and technical assurance center, take all of that information and model it into the product itself so that it will automatically find these very common problems that you might have. So whether it's a routing problem or whether it's a configuration problem or overlapping policies, all of these are discoverable by the network assurance engine before you experience the problem. And that's what we mean by moving from reactive to proactive. It's the first product with deep policy controller integration. So we integrate it with our ACI controller, our APIC controller. So you have a source for intent. That's what the controller does. And we have a source to a product to check that intent. And the two together enables that. And it is the most comprehensive product in the market in that it can do not only the policy and the configuration, but also the infrastructure all the way down to the hardware itself. So both the depth and the breadth of that, and so that's why we're very excited about these three unique things about the network assurance engine. But again, let's not take my word for it. I'd like to introduce and please welcome Jan Holzman from Bosch. Hello, Jan. Thank you. So Jan, can you just take a few minutes, introduce yourself and Bosch to the audience here?
Of course, thanks Ish. So welcome everybody, I'm Jan Holzman. I'm with Bosch since 2004 and I'm responsible, or I'm the team lead for our global data center network operations team. But let me spend a few words about Bosch. So Bosch, it's a huge enterprise, a global enterprise with close to 400,000 employees spread across more than 1,500 different locations on the world. So we have a huge variety of different business divisions. So for instance, we have our household appliances from BSH, the dishwashers and washing machines, you all know those. On the other hand side, we have our power tools with the drilling machines. But also, we are the world's largest automotive supplier in the world. But everybody in here is wearing at least one of our devices. The voice transmitters you're currently using are also from us. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So if you don't bank with BBVA, then you certainly use a product from Bosch, so we have you all covered here today. So Jan, tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you face and how you've been addressing them.
Okay, so as you met earlier, we are doing data center network, not for us, it's not a self-purpose, we do it for our business. Our business, as I said, we have a huge variety of business divisions, but all of those, they are currently in the digital transformation. So we have a huge amount of different services, products, sensors, and things. And at the moment, they are all connecting those things together. So we are becoming, or they are making Bosch an IoT company. And everybody knows IoT, it's network, it's our business. And their demands, they are currently changing. And the changes they are facing, it's our requirement to solve it. And the major requirement, it's time to market. Some years back, or earlier, we could deliver services inside the data center, taking hours, days, or maybe even weeks. But now we are really forced to deliver on time. And this, the automation journey, it's our biggest challenge we are facing.
Excellent. So whether it is in the financial services industry or here with Bosch with its many product offerings, these challenges for automation and developing new code are common across many of our customers. Can you take a moment, Jan, and just let the audience know, what are some of the solutions that you chose from Cisco?
Yeah, of course. So we had to renew our data center. So we had a huge decision to make, which is the right platform for our data center. And yes, we have chosen Cisco ACI to become our next generation data center network platform for Bosch. And why have we done this? Not because we like it, because we believe this is the right platform for our business, for the challenges for today and for the future. So with Cisco ACI, so as I said previously, we are a global operations team spread across the world. We do operate different data centers around the world. They have different requirements we need to meet. So we have different platforms, different services delivered into the data centers. So that's hard to operate from a global team because they are not the same. So we have different configurations, different platforms, different systems in there. That's pretty hard. Now with Cisco ACI, we have one single platform with one global policy, scaling from small to large. That's pretty amazing for our operations. On the other hand side, as I said, automation is our biggest challenge right now. Cisco ACI has now its unique API, you know it. And we can now automate the hardware, the underlay, as well as the overlay with the services, and this from one single unique API. That's pretty amazing and is driving our speed. On the other hand side, I'm pretty happy to say that, and we're excited. We are the very first customer using Network Assurance Engine in a productive way. It's currently supporting our daily migrations we are doing from our legacy data center towards Cisco ACI. Just to give you a few numbers, until end of this year, we have to migrate more than 15,000 different servers and applications from our traditional network towards ACI. That's a challenge.
I can imagine. So 15,000 servers migration, and I'm sure you have copious time and resources to do this, as everybody has endless time and resources, right? As a part of this, I know you spent some time with our advanced services, and our advanced services team was of help. Can you detail a little bit about how that worked with for the audience?
Of course. So we have engaged Cisco Advanced Service from day one when we have chosen Cisco ACI. So we had them included in all the discussions about the concept, about the services, how do we want to transform from legacy network towards SDN. It's a huge challenge, we all know that, and it's always about speed and quality. So we involved them also in the design phase, in the testing phase, and also for the implementation at all. Also for changes and daily operational tasks, they are supporting us. And honestly, I need to say, I didn't expect that it was a huge gain for us in speed and quality. I believe we wouldn't be at today's stage with our today's progress without Cisco Advanced Service. And I would like to take this opportunity also, because I know these colleagues will watch the recording of this session, to say thanks to our Advanced Service team. You did a great job last year. Please keep on going for 2018.
Excellent, great, thank you. So same question that I asked Iñaki. So as you were going through this, are there like a couple of wow moments that you can share with us here in the audience?
Let me start with Cisco ACI and the wow moment. It was close to 13 months back. We had to deliver our very first multi-pod ACI fabric to a very critical product for Bosch close to Christmas. The task was assigned to my lead ACI architect to create the fabric, raise it from scratch, make it productive and available. But he said to me, yeah, of course, I can do it now manually, as everybody knows is doing it in the legacy way. But we know we need to raise a 2-digit number within the next month and years. So that's a challenge, and we need to maintain the same policy, the same configuration across the world. If we do it manually, it will be a pity or a mess for timing, and of course for quality checks. So what he did, we have an API, writing one script, and let the script do the topic. So we had a zero-touch fabric deployment script, which was now doing a job which initially took multiple days. Now was now done with a script in minutes.
Excellent. So days to minutes is the key advance for you. That's excellent.
That's for ACI, but for Network Assurance Engine, so we are now with Network Assurance Engine for around about 1 month when we set up it. So when we first approached it, it was pretty cool. In the installation, it was very simple. You set it up. And the first experience you have with Network Assurance Engine, we immediately recognized, wow, the possibilities in creating GUIs, Cisco has really enhanced. So it's pretty simple, self-explaining. That's a good thing on that part. On the other hand side, from an operations perspective, we could immediately see, oh, there's an issue. We can solve it. Right. So that was really important for us. We could immediately see, okay, here's a wrong programmed entry inside of the ACI fabric. We don't have a ticket, we do not have an incident. So it's not yet detected or not affecting our service, but it might affect the service in the future. But now we knew it, that there's an issue, or
so see the problem before it happened.
Right, and it happened, but it wasn't impacting the business. So we could solve it without an impact to the customer in the future. That was pretty amazing for me.
Excellent. So this is exactly the experience that we're very excited about for all of our customers, is that ability to see things and solve them before they impact their customer. Just one last thing, and I'm sure you have some asks of us, but as you go forward, what are the challenges? What would you like to see? My team is listening too, so the engineering team will hear this, so I'd love to hear what you have.
Yeah, okay. So for ACI, we are continuing with our rollout. Of course, we have a lot of things to do. We are also enhancing our automation capabilities integrating the automation in our workflow tools. We have right now admin portals for us, for the server teams. So we'll keep this topic ongoing. On the other hand side, we are looking towards some closer integration into our other business divisions. So we want to integrate into our container platform, into VMM topics, into the hypervisors, but also into the platform as a service topics with OpenShift. That's for ACI.
Yes.
For Network Assurance Engine, I want to give the challenge back to you, to your team, to your engineers. When I heard the first time, about Network Assurance Engine, it was Tom Etzel down there. He made a presentation and said, look here, on the one hand side, we have the policy, how your data center should look like, your intent. On the other hand, we know how the data center is programmed, ASIC states, TCAM entries, routing table entries, and so on. And we have both. And I said, okay, if we have both, we know what is wrong. So basically, what I would like to see in the future from Network Assurance Engine is, if you know what is wrong, you can correct it.
Yes.
You can correct it before it impacts our business. So the first approach to a self-healing data center. I know it's challenging, but I know you can do it.
Excellent. That is a challenge worthy of a superhero, so we will take that challenge on and deliver for you.
Great.
Jan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. Take care.
You. Okay, so we've had a couple of customers come up and speak and tell you about their experiences. Could not be more happy with them, and thank you again for spending your time here at Cisco Live talking to our audience for us. Our overall data center portfolio, I couldn't be more excited about where we are in our data center portfolio. We have the best set of products in the industry and in our history as a company in the data center. Whether it is our Cisco ACI with the automation and the ability to capture intent, Tetration Analytics, which hopefully you got a chance to see Tom Etzel speak a little bit earlier today in this theater, covering everything that we can see, every bit of traffic that's going on in the data center and capture that and understand what it means. And now the Network Assurance Engine, where we can marry the information about the infrastructure itself and what is possible and see those problems ahead of them occurring and impacting your customers. All of this entire portfolio is built on the power of our Nexus switching infrastructure. The ACI and Network Assurance go together. Tetration can run on any infrastructure, but we believe that as we go forward with ACI Anywhere, that this policy model and this model for assurance and analytics is going to be critical to all data center infrastructures. So I just want to leave you with a couple of things. You saw this slide hopefully in the keynote, and you've seen us talk about the network intuitive. This is where the industry is going, whether it's in the campus, the data center, or the wide area network. Intuitive networking, powered by context, informed by intent. We've been on this journey for a number of years now in the data center. We would welcome you to join us if you have not already. And as you spend the rest of your time here at Cisco Live, please take your time to see some of the demos. We've brought a large team of our experts here. Visit the data center area, attend some of the deep dive technical sessions. It's a unique opportunity to really learn about some of the technologies that we talked about today. So with that, I want to thank you very much. Thank you for spending time with us here at Cisco Live.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Cisco TV studio, coming at you live here from Barcelona, Cisco Live 2018, and another fantastic innovation showcase. This time on data center innovation. So much useful, applicable information from Ish, from Jan, from Ignacio, learning how to use Insight to take action in our data center, whether that is on-premise or in the cloud. Leveraging the powerful combination of Nexus Cloud Scale switches and ACI and Cloud Center and Tetration Analytics. Having that power right there at our fingertips to be able to gain agility, to scale, to deliver more operational simplicity and security in the data center. Again, great innovation showcase. More of them coming up over the next couple of days. check your Cisco Event app. Make sure that you are on top of all that is available to you. Now, I want to continue this conversation on the intent-based data center, really try to understand more about what makes that architecture run. I've got Lior Goldgraber here with me. Lior, thanks for coming on in. I'll drag you in closer to me. All going well. Thank you for taking the time. I know you got a crazy hectic schedule, so thank you for joining us here. Lior is head of EMEA DC marketing with us here at Cisco. All right, kick us off. What are the current market dynamics that are happening in the data center space today? What are the challenges we're looking at? How are we solving those challenges here at Cisco?
Okay, so basically what we see in the last mainly 5 to 7 years is a major change for IT professionals in this space. So we are looking at it, we call it the perfect storm on 3 different verticals. So one of them is about the workloads, where they reside. So it was very easy 7, 8 years ago, everything was in the data center, floor -5, everybody knew where it is, and then we started to see shift to a managed services, data center services. We're seeing a move to private clouds, and obviously public clouds becoming very, very interesting in the last 2, 3 years. You know, in Cisco Live 3 or 4 years ago, when we talked about public clouds, everybody said, is it really happening? Is it really serious? And so on. Today, no doubt. So everything is moving there. This is the first vector. The other one is what IT is doing. So IT used to control everything, right? And what we see as we move forward is that budgets are moving out of IT to other departments. We are seeing DevOps guys becoming very, very vocal and asking for their services. We are seeing developers becoming the #1 customer for every IT professional. So if we don't give them what they want, they cannot deliver the apps that the business requires. So that's the second one. And the third one, we are seeing a major shift of how applications are being developed. So again, from monolithic, very easy, here's the code, resides on a very specific server. We are going to containers now, where I like to call it the virtualization of the virtualization, because 7, 8 years ago, with the introduction of virtualization for the first time, we start seeing multiple machines running on one physical one. Now we are seeing multiple instances of a code running somewhere. And this brings us all to the discussion of multi-cloud, which is the major transformation that we are all trying to solve in the end of the day, because customers want to use all these great public clouds, move these workloads as we just described, and we want to make it easy for them, which is a challenging task, but we are doing that. Yeah.
How quickly is this taking place? I mean, the demand has got to be incredibly high. How do we keep up with that demand, and how do we do it securely? There's really a second part to my question.
That's a great question. So it's all about, you know, what we are here to discuss is the intent-based data center. So basically the whole architecture that we built, you know, Cisco is in the data center business for the last 10 years. We started with switches, then we went to compute, now we are doing a lot. All the rest, almost all the rest. And we're doing that with our partners as well, the ecosystem partners and so on. But basically, all the products that we deliver and all the products that we develop and the software that we build in the last few years are all to serve one purpose, to enable this multi-cloud journey. Because in the end of the day, customers, this is what they want. They want to wake up in the morning, they have a request coming from the business, they want to make sure they can deliver it in 1 hour, half an hour, whatever it takes. And we are here to solve them this main challenge of the business.
So let's go back a little bit. So you just popped up multi-cloud. I wanted to go there anyway with you, which is just great. Give me multi-cloud from your perspective. Explain how you view multi-cloud, about how the industry looks at multi-cloud, what it really means, but more so how it relates to the IBDC.
Okay. Another great question.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to follow you down the path. You're setting me up. I'm just teeing them off here.
Perfect. So when you look at multi-cloud, customers are looking today at running apps in the best way. That's the main challenge. Obviously, in a secure manner, we'll get to security. Without security, we have no reason to be here, right? So this is their main task. Now, the options are there. They can go to public cloud services, they can build their own private, they can do whatever they want. So the options are all there. Now, the decision that they need to take is if they have 200 applications. Just for an example, this is a small customer with 200. We have customers with thousands of applications. They need to take a decision, what's the best venue for this specific application? That's the main question. Why is that? Because it needs to be cheap, it needs to be secure, it needs to be very, very agile, and if they want to move it between different public clouds, they want to do it on the fly because nobody wants to get married with a public cloud provider, right? Like with any other vendor in the industry. So this is how I see that. You wake up in the morning, you have a lot of options where you want to go, and you need to pick the best venue to go to get your stuff going. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's go to some hard examples here at this point. Give us a sense of the products, the technologies that are supporting the IBDC architecture today. What is really exciting you out there from what you're seeing in the field right now?
So I'm excited about the innovation that we had in data center in the last 2-3 years mainly. We did a lot there. We had a lot of launches. We just introduced two new products here at Barcelona. And I'm very excited about what we are doing in the UCS space, in the compute space. I always remind our customers and partners 10 years ago, when we started talking about it, everybody laughed at Cisco.
Yeah.
They said, guys, you lost it. Look where we are today. So this is one of them. The next one, Hyperflex, extremely interesting. We started selling Hyperflex. Actually, we brought it to market 2 years ago. It just flies, rock high. So very good traction there with customers, and we just announced a new version with a lot of new capabilities that enable, again, the multi-cloud journey. Basically, everything we do, we look, does it actually deliver what we need for multi-cloud, or it's just another feature? And this is how we test things. So that's the second one. The third one we announced a few months ago, Intersight, which is our cloud-based UCS Hyperflex management system, which we have so many customers coming to see the demos in the booth, and see that it's actually alive and doing what we intended to do, by the way. So
yeah, this is beautiful because, again, by having the people here in the room with us, we can show it to them one-on-one. I'm so sorry, but I want to make sure that people know where you are. Head straight down the hallway into the world of solutions.
Yeah.
Go and talk with Lior and his team. And again, they'll explain the intent-based data center to all of you. Lior, thank you for your time.
Thank you a lot.
Really appreciate the opportunity for the two of us to chat here today. And enjoy the rest of the week here. Hope you'll come back and visit us a little bit more again throughout the course of the week. Steve. Okay, so we're going to turn our attention now for the next couple of minutes to some terrific videos. We are going to look at our Cisco Network Assurance Engine, then we'll look very quickly at Cisco Hyperflex 3.0, and then we're going to hear from one of our great customer partners over at Bosch. First up though, Dhruv Jain and Rob Boyd sat down for a demo of our Cisco Network Assurance Engine. Let's go ahead and let's watch that right now.
Hey guys, I'm in the data center booth here to talk about one of the newest products that Cisco has recently rolled out, and it's really solving problems in the data center. And I want to make sure we get this right. So Dhruv, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us here.
So this is the CNAE, because we try to make everything an acronym. That one doesn't roll off the tongue as well, but it's a Cisco Network Assurance Engine. Is that correct? Can you tell me what it is and what we need to understand about it?
Sure. So the Network Assurance Engine is the third and sort of critical pillar of our intent-based strategy for data center networks. It's fundamentally that ability to give the network operator the confidence that the network is indeed operating exactly as they intended it to, exactly as they expected it to, right? And we do this using some really cool mathematical modeling that I can talk more about.
Please.
So the way it works is we actually build mathematical models of the entire network. It's based on Cisco's unique patented network verification technology. And what we do is pick up the entire state, the config state, the data plane state from the network devices. We pick up the policy from the controller. We pick up the intent, the operator intent, and then we build mathematical models of this entire network. And now, once you have models, software representations of the entire network, you can ask those models any possible what-if questions, right? You can ask it questions around, is my security intent correctly met? Is my forwarding state in a good place? Are all my endpoints behaving nicely, right? And so that becomes a fundamentally new way of how we build and manage data center networks.
Okay, so one of the first things I think of when I think about instilling confidence and getting started with something that's going to model the network, I mean, when you say mathematical models, I assume there's some type of a learning behavior that is happening. What is the initial experience like for customers who are going to get started with this? Do they have to know a lot about their network to get this up and running to that initial state?
Great question. So it's actually the other way. What we are building is, it's called formal methods, formal models. And this is not machine learning. This is not learning the behavior of the network. It's actually modeling it accurately, which means, and the way we have actually architected the product, this product takes literally 30 minutes to deploy. And in 60 minutes, it is spewing out results, assurance results, analysis results, accurate results about your network and your fabric, right? That is a tremendously short time to value that is, unique in the industry.
So give me an idea of a couple of use cases. What are the top things that customers would say, boy, I have needed this because I can now do this?
Fair enough. So the first and most valuable use case, Rob, is around change management. Right? Forever, we've been in networking, and we've never really had meaningful tools to check, to verify the correctness of our changes. In the developer world, software developers have a whole host of tools to do that, from build testing, unit testing, functional testing, and so on. But in the network world, there's nothing. With Candid, with Cisco Network Assurance Engine, Candid was our internal code name, we've brought that ability to networking for the first time, that customers can actually predict the impact of their changes and find issues that would otherwise normally just be caught in production weeks later.
And so therein comes some of your confidence and such like this. Before you make a move, you know exactly it's going to do what you expect it to do. You understand the intent, your intent is reflected correctly. What about things like security or in multi-tenancy situations? Is this a help in that area?
Yes, so that's the second probably most interesting use case is around security policies. To be able to assure your network security policies, ensure compliance by design, by construction with your policies. We actually build models of the entire security space, all your contracts in your network fabric, we model them, and now we can reason about all of your security policies in one place. That means if you want to assure that, hey, I have isolation between these two tenants, you can check that by design. You want to make sure that A can talk to these 5 other endpoints. You can check that by design. You don't need to wait for any data packets. We don't look at any flows. You just see this based on the policies that you have configured. You can look at millions of policies and be able to understand them in ways that have just not been possible before.
So you mentioned 2 use cases, let's see, change management, security, but there's a third one you said was very important.
Yeah, so because the Network Assurance Engine analyzes the entire dynamic state of your network, we can actually look at all your forwarding state, all your endpoints, all the time, continuously, and make sure we catch any inconsistencies in the dynamic state relative to your intent. Maybe you've got overlapping subnets, maybe you've got duplicate IPs. We can catch that before any data packet even comes into the network, right? And that's the power of being proactive.
Well, what I like about what you're saying there is you're saying that there are problems in our network sometimes that don't manifest themselves in things that are very obvious, and so they become lurking issues or they create latent issues that come up later when we never want issues, but they come up later when it bites us harder perhaps, and you're saying we can get on top of these things because of the increased ability to understand the models about what is and what should be in our networks. So you guys have this product now available, customers can purchase it, customers can use it, but you did a lot of testing with customers beforehand. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, we actually started off our early field trials in early summer last year. And so we've worked now with close to 40 customers, and the feedback has been phenomenal, right? We've got phenomenal feedback on the user interface, the ease of using it, also the ease of deploying this product. As I said, it's 30 to 60 minutes to value, right? And then finally, the power of proactive in finding these issues. We have found $1 million failures in customer networks and proactively avoided these issues in customer networks as part of just our field trials. And so we're now in production, and customers are using this as part of in their production fabrics now.
So I want to make sure I understood that correctly, because when you say you found $1 million failures, what you found is a potential for $1 million failure before it cost anything. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. You guys have worked really hard on this. I encourage everybody to come by the booth, take a look at the demonstration, because it is a very visual experience, and that's part of how they drive simplicity with understanding what's happening in your network. It's the Cisco Network Assurance Engine. It's available now. Come check it out in the data center booth.
All right, thank you so much to Dhruv Jain and to Rob Boyd. Boy, if I had a nickel for every $1 million failure I've had. We're going to move directly into another video without any delay. Our own Lauren Malhoit sat down with Liz and KD, and they did a demo of Cisco Hyperflex 3.0. Very, very cool. I want to check out the technology right away without any more delay. Let's go directly to that VT right now. Not a All right, you got it. Welcome back, guys. Every now and then, these kinds of things occur. This is the beauty of live theater, right? And this is how you know that nothing that you're looking at is canned. We're going to get that video up and running in just a moment. I want to remind all of you, while I've got your attention back again for just a moment, that coming up at 5:30, which is a mere 15 minutes from now, we're going to have Sachin Gupta here in the studio with us. Sachin is Senior VP of Production Management for Enterprise Networking. These are golden opportunities. This is an opportunity for all of you to connect in via Facebook Live, ask any questions you like. I've been told that we've got our video back with Lauren, Liz, and Katie. Let's go ahead and roll to that right now.
Hi everyone, I'm here at the Hyperflex booth with Liz Santoni, SVP of Cisco Computing Systems, and Katie, the VP of Product Management for Cisco Computing Systems. We're of course going to talk about the new Hyperflex 3.0 announcements. Liz, can you tell me a little bit about what you guys announced last week?
Happy to. So we released HX 3.0, which is one of our biggest releases yet. And the vision that we had is any cloud, any application at any scale. And what we did with HX 3.0 is execute on that vision.
That's all we need, right? It's all about simplicity, all about flexibility, all about scale. Katie, tell us a little bit about, well, the data center is all about the application, right? That's what it's always been about. What can Hyperflex do to enable the innovations around the app?
So what you need for an application is you first of all need an operating environment. Then you need an execution environment, and then you need to feed that into a resiliency strategy that you're enabling. On the operating environment, we had VMware. Now we've got Hyper-V support, so you can have any hypervisor. It's a multi-hypervisor platform. And we just released container support, so now you can do containerized application. And that, along with integrations with Cloud Center, now allows you to do the application blueprints that can place applications anywhere you want. On the execution environment, we announced much larger scale, so 64-node scale, nice, with availability zones built in so that you don't tie yourself up with the rope we give you. And then that feeds on all of the prior innovations around how do you feed into a brownfield environment that has converged infrastructure and hyperconverged living together without creating new silos, right? And finally, the question is how do you feed this into a strategy that supports resiliency and availability? And a key ask, especially in this region in EMEA, was around stretch clusters. So we already had native replication in the product. We already had integrations with leading backup vendors. But now what we're bringing to the table is stretch clusters, which brings that resiliency strategy to the next level.
That's fantastic. So what kind of workloads can we handle then with the new HX 3.0 and you know, given that we have the availability zones and all of that good stuff?
Yep. Great question. So from a workload perspective, the short answer is it can handle anything. But the question that you've got to ask yourself is what do you need to handle anything? What you need is an infrastructure that has the performance to handle everything, that has the consistency to handle everything, and finally you need recipes that make it really easy to deploy the application. And that's where we really shine, because we've got experts who've had decades of experience fine-tuning the applications, fine-tuning the infrastructure, co-designing hardware, software, application recipes. So now we can handle any app, whether it's Oracle databases, or whether it's SQL databases, whether it's enterprise applications like Exchange, like SAP, whether it's Cisco applications like Unified Communications, which is really popular, whether it's security applications from Cisco or networking applications. And finally, there's the gateway applications, right, which like VDI or Test Dev or Robo, which is what a lot of customers get started with, and then they migrate rapidly to these new applications.
Sure, and I love that we can handle all of that. I know customers are really looking for a kind of a templated way of doing things, so they don't have to be an expert for everything. Also, kind of, I don't want to say buzzword, but something that people really need to consider is multi-cloud. So Liz, can you tell us a little bit about what we're doing multi-cloud-wise in the new version?
Yeah, so cloud's inevitable because the benefits of cloud are definitely undeniable. If you look at it, 87% of our customers either are using or plan to use hybrid cloud. And more than 94% of them are actually multi-cloud today. So what we're doing is enabling our customers through this multi-cloud journey. So if you look at our solutions today, we have everything that goes from how you actually decide on placing your apps, where you place them, whether the apps need the mobility across your data center and multiple clouds, and then the performance monitoring of those apps, regardless of where they sit. So what we're doing is enabling our customers through this multi-cloud journey.
And I think that's fantastic. offering one way to do it, not having to have several skill sets for everything. Thank you so much. And Katie, do you have anything to add to multi-cloud?
No, I think Liz said it perfectly well. I mean, you need the ability to take an application, develop it on a private cloud or a public cloud, and be able to move it, be able to create templates and blueprints, which we do with Cloud Center integrations, and be able to place that application, be able to place it optimally, which is what we do with the Cisco Workload Optimization Manager, CWOM. That's integrated in, so now you can actually place the application in a way that ekes out the best performance, and finally guarantee the SLAs that you're promising to your end customers with integration with AppDynamics, which allows the APM functionality within it. And together this toolkit, plus the operating environment of Hyper-V, containers, VMware, allows you to create an application, deploy it anywhere, and be assured that that application is going to perform.
Fantastic. You heard it here. Any cloud, any app, anywhere, making it easy to scale. Come on and visit us at the Hyperflex booth. Come have a coffee at the Hyperflex Cafe, or visit us online at cisco.com/go/Hyperflex. Thanks, everyone.
All right, fantastic stuff. Thank you so much, Lauren Malloy. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, KD, for taking us through that demo. Any cloud, any application, any scale. That really tells the story, and Lauren nailed it as well, where she said, this is about simplicity. So much of what we talk about is taking the complexity out of the operation, making it easy to apply, highly applicable, and get it to work in your organization as rapidly as possible. Great stuff. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. All right, one more video that we want to share with you. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to sit down for a few minutes and talk with Jan Holtzman from Bosch. You probably saw Jan in the last Innovation Showcase. Hopefully you were in there for that conversation. But we were discussing the Bosch data center network. We were talking about the transformation of that network and also that need to adapt for better customer delivery and QoE. Let's go ahead and dive into that video right now. I hope you like what you see. Welcome back to the Cisco TV studio here at the World of Solutions. We're going to spend the next couple of minutes talking about how Cisco is delivering intent for data center networking. I've got Jan Holtzman here in the studio with us. You are team lead for data center operations, central networking services for Bosch. So I'm so glad to have you here with us. Thanks for joining us today. These products that we're talking about, we are enabling digital transformation for so many companies. Bosch has been an amazing success story on this front. So why don't you begin by telling us about some of the challenges that you were facing at Bosch in the data center environment. What did you have to accomplish? What were you looking to do?
Of course, let me start from the beginning. So Bosch is a global enterprise. We have around about 400,000 employees spread across more than 1,500 different locations with a huge variety of different products, of different businesses. So we have our household appliances on the one hand side with dishwashers, for instance. On the other hand side, our power tools with the drilling machines. We are still the world's largest automotive supplier in the world. And then also we have other new environments like sensors which we deliver around the world. So this is our traditional business, but our business is changing. So our business units, they are going the way of the digital transformation. So they make that Bosch will become an IoT company. And with IoT, we all know it comes to network. And this is our challenge. So the business demands have changed on the way of high availability, so zero downtime, high quality, and on the other hand side of speed of the deployment. So time to market, and for time to market for us means automation, and this is our hugest challenge right now.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the technologies that are making that transformation possible within the data center. So let's look at CNE, Cisco Network Assurance Engine. What sort of benefits did you see from CNE? What sort of help were you able to get for Bosch?
So first of all, we are the very first productive customer using Cisco Network Assurance Engine. We have it now up and running for close to 1 month. The biggest advantage what we see, it supports us in our current migration of applications from our legacy data center infrastructure towards ACI. So we get an immediate feedback from the network assurance engine how the application is behaving, if there are some issues, and that we can immediately resolve it. During our first installations, we have already seen that we could solve issues even before our customer could recognize it. So we have some wrong programmed entries, and we could solve them, and without any impact to the application side. On the other hand side, Cisco Network Assurance Engine brings a huge benefit to our daily operations. We have the correlation of alarms and of the entries inside of the environment. So we have the smart events, which supports us in our day-by-day operations on a global scope. On top of that, we are having a global network operations center. These colleagues are doing first and partly second level operations for the complete Bosch network. So imagine that. They are doing operations in the campus LAN environment, they are doing WAN topics and also data center topics. So for them, and this was a multi-vendor environment, different solutions, different platforms, different services. They need to be able to operate all of these platforms. So it's very hard for them to dig there deeply in the technology and stay there included or involved. So Network Assurance Engine, with its unique possibilities, creating the smart events, as I said, but also providing a way how to resolve issues, will enable them to support us in our operations, and that's amazing.
It is exciting. It's a very, very complex process, but it's very exciting to see it all coming about. Advanced services, also really instrumental, right, in your success for your own data center goals. What really stood out for you? How have Cisco Advanced Services really gotten you where you needed to go?
Oh, very good question. And let me say that, when we started with our ACI project, we included Cisco Advanced Service in the very beginning. We had them involved in our design phase, when we made the architecture, when we made all the fundamental decisions, naming concepts, how to create the services, how do we want to deploy them in our data center. We involved them also in all this stability testing and the feature tests within the labs, but also in the very first deployments for quality topics, for checkings, in the migration phase for supporting out there with guidelines and support, but also for support in the general operation task and in the enhancement of our environment. So I honestly need to say, their support speeded up our overall project. We measured that, and without Advanced Service, we wouldn't been at the today's stage where we are right now. They brought us speed and quality, and this is the most important topic, and therefore I honestly want to say thanks to our Advanced Service team. They did a fantastic job.
That's fantastic. I want to end our talk here by having you look into your crystal ball, tell us a little bit about the future here. You are well on your way. Bosch is creating intent-based networking. You're using, we said, our network assurance engine, Cisco ACI.
Yeah.
What sort of possibilities do you see this creating for Bosch in the months and the years ahead? We're talking to each other 2 years, 3 years from now. Where do you think you're going to be?
Okay, let me start with ACI first. So for ACI, we are first of all going the journey of automation. Right now we have admin work tools or workplaces or panels where we as network engineers can automate our data centers with one click, just create the configurations in there, but also our server teams are using that. We are going to integrate this in all the workflows and the tools that directly a customer will provision the network on its own without us anymore. That's great. And then of course we are going to on the way of the integration. So we want to integrate on the one hand side into the VMM domains and into hypervisors of our server teams. On the other hand side into our container platform using the CNI interface. And of course also in the platform as a service level with OpenShift. That's for ACI. But for Network Assurance Engine, I want to give the ball back to Cisco. I want to challenge Cisco on that part. Okay. So I listened to a presentation of Network Assurance Engine from Tom Etzel in the past. And there he explained about the possibilities Network Assurance Engine will create. So having on the one hand side the policy, your intent, how your data center policy, the configuration should look like. But on the other hand side, having all the program or the ASIC states, the forwarding tables, and the real how your network is really behaving. So you have both topics together and you have both inside of Network Assurance Engine. And for me it was immediately clear. It's a game-changing technology. Now you have a tool available which knows how it is really and how it should be. And it also knows basically what to do to solve it. So my dream, my wish to Cisco is bring in automation capabilities to solve issues automatically before our customer sees an impact to its network, so that we have a kind of self-healing data center. This is my wish for Network Assurance Engine.
Way to throw down the gauntlet, I love that. Again, it's all about the collaboration and the cooperation. The best way that we can do that, we need to listen to our customers and our partners telling us, here is what we need you to do. Everybody's going to see this and they're going to know. Jan Holzman, a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Thanks to all of you for tuning in as well. Hope you're loving your week here at Cisco Live. welcome back to the world of solutions here in Barcelona, and welcome back to the Cisco TV studio. Our thanks to Jan Holtzman for that great interview. Really great to talk with him about Bosch and what's happening in the data center.